Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real treat for you, especially if you're into real estate. Little whippersnapper running around, cleaning everybody's clock, lighting the old freaking business world on fire. Ryan Pineda, what's going on?
What's up, Brad? Happy to finally meet you, man.
A local Las Vegan. You
born and raised.
Really?
Yep.
Well, then that's better than me. I moved here in 91. I've lived here longer than anywhere, though, so that technically makes me a Las Vegan.
We'll accept you.
How old are you?
32. Born in 89, so.
Born in 89. So I moved here when you were 2 years old.
Yep, so I've got you beat.
And the sumbitch turned around, and now he's making millies flipping properties, teaching people real estate, putting together, basically hedge funds.
Yeah.
Raising capital, investing, buying apartments, the whole thing real estate. It's all pretty much real estate, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the majority, other than the e-com stuff we talked about.
Oh, yeah,
then,
e-com.
I also have a CPA firm, but, that's geared towards real estate investors.
So you're doing that vertical integration.
Yep. I also have a real estate brokerage. We've got over 100 agents out here in Vegas, so definitely vertical integration, man.
And a brokerage, huh? So how did you, pick real estate? Why real estate?
Man, my mom was a realtor for my whole life, and I saw her work, whenever she felt like it. But I had no interest in real estate. I actually wanted to be a baseball player. So grew up out here playing baseball, doing my thing, got a college scholarship at Cal State Northridge, went and played D1 baseball. Then I was fortunate enough to get drafted by the Oakland A's. So, got to play in the minor leagues for 8 seasons, and that was a lot of fun, but wasn't making no money in the minor leagues. I was making $1,200 a month. So I was forced into entrepreneurship, and real estate was just the one thing I could think of back then of oh, well, I guess I could do this on my own time. I don't need a job with somebody. And, in 2010, when I got drafted, it's not like there was all these jobs out there, It's like, I don't even know what I could have got a job at, and who's going to let me go leave 6 months out of the year when I'm trying to play baseball. So I was forced into it.
And then how long did it take you before you started getting it?
Oh, man. So when I was 21, this was back in 2010, as you know, living out here, prices were stupid cheap. By your studio, you could have got a house for $100,000. Stupid.
I'll tell you a story. Keep going.
Okay. So I started out as a realtor, and super hard to sell a house. I know you're a good closer, but I wasn't at the time. And no one had money. Everyone just got wrecked. They all got foreclosed on. They had bad credit. So I couldn't ever get buyers. Luckily, I sold a couple of homes, but I just hated it, dude. I just stopped doing it after a couple of years because I was tired of it.
And what year?
This was 2010. I probably stopped being a realtor around 2012. I kept my license, but I just wasn't trying to get clients or anything. So fast forward, I start doing other side hustles. I did a side hustle that got kind of famous on YouTube called couch flipping. And that was just by luck. I got married when I was young. My wife and I have been together 8 years now. She was 21. I was 24. I'm like, what am I going to do to make money for us? It ain't real estate. So we just furnished our apartment together. And I just sat there looking at it. I'm looking at the couch just like I'm looking at this one. And I said, I bet you, I bought that for $100. I bought it on Craigslist. I bet you I could sell it for $300-400. I got such a good deal on it. So I tested the theory. I bought another couch, sold it, made $200. I was like, if I just did this every day, I can make $6,000 a month. So guess what? Bought a truck on Craigslist for $1,500. Test the theory. I just start buying couches like a madman, dude. It was the easiest business ever. Grew that to $8,000 a month net profit as a side hustle. Got storage units, figured out how to post and find deals and do all this stuff. Probably flipped over 1,000 couches.
You figured it all out by yourself?
Yeah. So that was my first real business success and endeavor. But during that time, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to flip furniture my whole life. This is stupid. It was about that time I started listening to podcasts for the first time. And I came across this podcast called Bigger Pockets. And Bigger Pockets starts talking about how you can get real estate with no money. And I'm like, well, I got no money. This is cool. How do I do this? So in my mind as a realtor, it's like you get a 30-year loan, you got to go buy them on the MLS, and that's just not the truth. I mean, there's so many ways to get deals not using your money, off market, and all these things. So that podcast changed my life because immediately after that, I went out and found my first deal that I was going to flip. This was 2015, early. Still didn't have money. Even though I was flipping couches, it was only 6 months out of the year because I was playing baseball. And I ended up maxing out my credit cards to cover the down payment on a hard money loan. And I was all in, that was $50,000, my wife and my credit cards. And thankfully it worked out. That first flip made $25,000. And I was like, this is it. This is the business for me. I'm good at finding deals. Like, let's just go find a ton of these houses. And so that was our first one, 2015. Fast forward, we did 5 that year, scaled to 20 the next year, 50 the year after that. Been doing over 100 ever since.
You got a team?
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't find 100 by yourself, can you?
No.
And, but that's a relatively short time span, dude. It's only been 6 years.
Yeah. So we're this is our 7th year of doing it full time.
And just for the listeners, he's got a program that'll teach you. I don't know what it costs, but it's a video program, and you go through it, and then obviously you can join his coaching program. But you show people how to do this.
Yeah, if you just go to futureflipper.com, you can see all of our coaching programs and courses. But
zero money out of their pocket to buy a house.
You can flip with zero money. I mean, I thought it was a scam. That's what I never did it early on. I'd heard it as a realtor. People are like, "Oh, go get pre-foreclosures. Go get hard money loans and private lenders." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I just didn't know. But man, I mean, that's how I've made my career, is just to this day, I almost never use my own money when I flip houses because we've figured out how to raise money. And then you can do other things where you don't even have to buy the house. You could wholesale and, just sell the contract and make a ton of money.
See, that's the thing I don't understand. I mean, I understand it, but I don't understand why everyone isn't doing that. It's door knocking.
You can door knock, lock up a contract, sell the contract to a guy like me, go make money.
Decent money.
Dude, I mean, there's wholesalers that make millions of dollars every year. They never buy a house.
Have you ever heard of a guy by the name of the Deed Hunter?
No.
This dude makes millions of dollars a year. All he does is all digital, looks online, bids on properties that are tax lien deficient or whatever. They're tax lien. And literally, dude, buys sight unseen properties for basically pennies on the dollar, and then turn around and sells those properties and makes money. Never even sees them.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 properties, one fell swoop. Because if you owe, let's say, $900 in taxes, they can literally snatch your house for that shit.
Yep.
I don't understand how the banks and everybody get screwed, but same reason you didn't understand, no money down crap doesn't mean it doesn't work. This guy's making it work. And yes, you can literally buy a $1 million property for $900 sometimes. Is it every time? No, but that's why he's called the Deed Hunter. But if you get into a consistent rhythm, whether you're doing this or wholesaling or flipping or pretty much anything, if you know what you're doing, man, you can make a living. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I've seen people make so much money in real estate in a variety of ways. I mean, you could be an agent, you could be a mortgage broker, you could be a flipper, wholesaler, the deed hunter. Like, they can all make millions of dollars.
Well, my whole question is, for realtors, if it's such a great deal, why don't they buy it?
Because they don't know the things we know about buying. Like
I could bring you a deal and you'd pass. You might pass. Why? Why are you passing? And then I bring you a deal and you'd be like, shit, I'm on it. Well, why are you on that one? Like, what's the difference?
I mean, it's just value. I mean, it's really just a numbers game.
That's it.
When they ask us, what areas do you buy in? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's literally, to me, an address. It's just a spreadsheet. If it makes money, we'll buy it. And that's how we look at the business,
But how do you know if the value's right?
I mean, it's just
comps?
Learning to comp properties the right way. I tell people a big mistake with new investors is they get too speculative. Maybe the comps are 400,000. They're like, oh, but mine's going to be a lot better. It's going to get 430. It's It's like, no, you got to comp it at, you might get 430, but 400 is what you got to be at. Or they're overly optimistic on the rehab. They're like, I could get this done for 20,000. It's like, no, that's going to be a $30,000-$40,000 rehab. So
that's experience though, right?
It comes with experience. You're going to screw up. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah. You know, I found a really unique individual that will take a normal flipper situation that would not make sense. They turn it into, like, for example, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and now it makes sense.
Yeah. He
literally shows you how to use this architecting software to take a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, for example, and make it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and now it makes sense. Where if you ran the numbers without doing that, it would not make sense.
Yeah, one thing we look at is things like that, right? If it is a 2-bedroom, can we make it a 3? We always ask that question. Another thing we look at is, can we convert a garage and get additional living square footage? You're seeing this in Cali a lot because they have a new law with ADUs. And so they're all converting these garages to living space because price per square foot in Cali is crazy. But another thing we look at as well is, could we convert patios into living space? Are there any unpermitted things right now that don't show up on the assessor? Maybe it shows like, oh, it's a 1,500 square foot house. We'll walk it. And we're like, dude, this ain't 1,500 square feet. We can tell this got converted into square footage. And to get that square footage to count isn't that hard. So there's a lot of ways to get this hidden value.
This is part of the shit you teach?
Oh, yeah.
And you're in the what, 7-8 figures now?
Man, in revenue, sure, we can. Depends how you want to count revenue with house flipping.
Like, what are you making?
Not 8 figures yet, but multiple 7.
Getting up there.
Yeah.
And you're a young man. Man. People say, you know, oh, that you're doing like the Grant Cardone thing with your hedge fund, your investment capital opportunity. What are you calling that? Fund?
No, dude, we kind of stole it from Grant's. Just Pineda Capital.
Just Pineda Capital.
Yeah.
You get a lot of Latinos.
You know what's funny is, so I'm half Filipino, half white. And a lot of people think I'm Latino. And whenever I do my events and stuff, we always have a very mixed crowd, you know, and a lot of them are Filipinos because they know I'm Filipino. A lot of them are Latinos. And, you know, there are white people too, but it's just, I thought about that one day because I've always saw myself as just like a normal dude. I wouldn't say I saw myself as like a white dude. I'm half white, but it's funny that.
Do I look like a white dude to you?
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like a white dude.
Yeah, because like I'm my grandmother's pure Spanish.
Really?
And my grandfather's pure Irish.
Okay.
Which would make my dad Irish and Spanish.
Uh-huh.
My mother is like a mutt, French, German, you know, all this, which makes me a mutt technically. But,
right.
But most people wouldn't think that I am Spanish. I have Spanish.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
So that makes me Latino.
Well, there you go.
I thought Pineda was Latino. See, so therefore that shows you I'm a white guy.
I know.
Because I didn't even know Pineda was Filipino.
Well, you know, the Spaniards actually conquered the Philippines. And so that's why there's so many Spaniard last names.
So, but you were born here.
Born in Vegas. My dad was born in the Philippines.
Yeah, so dude, you're freaking American.
Yeah, I consider when people are like, do you speak Tagalog? I'm like, dude, honestly, I'm white. Like, I grew up here.
But you would think, well, that's what I was asking. So the Filipinos that know you're Filipino, do you get a lot of loyalty from the tribe, as it were?
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, it's like Manny Pacquiao, man. Like, Filipinos love each other.
Because, like, well, so do Latinos. It's just familial, the culture they grew up in.
Hey, I'll tell them I'm Latino, man. You know, I played with a lot of Latinos when I was playing baseball. I speak more Spanish than I do Tagalog.
Either way, you're speaking capital right now.
I guess that's what matters to them.
So Pineda Capital, do you have to have a bunch of rules for that? Like, can you teach someone how to set that up?
I don't know if there's like a rule with teaching people how to set up a fund. Actually, I think
because Grant did it, and he had lawyers, and you know, for a while it was only accredited. Then he figured out how to get unaccredited, and I think he's back to just accredited.
Yeah, so we spent about 4 or 5 months with the lawyers to get it up and going. And ours is accredited only. If you're non-accredited, can't do anything. But yeah, our lawyer was like, hey, so it looks like you're trying to pretty much follow the path of Grant, right? You're going to make social media content. People are going to invest. Do you want to go for non-accredited? And I was like, well, what are the pros and cons of both? He said, well, going the accredited route is way easier. We can get you done here in a couple of months and you're ready to go. If you want to go non-accredited, it's way harder. You got to go through all this regulation, blah, blah, blah. It could take over a year. And he's like, honestly, this is what is getting Grant the most trouble is the non-accrediteds, because when somebody invests their only $1,000 with you, they're going to treat it so much more than the guy who invests $1 million with you. And he's like, whatever, dude, like, just go make it. It's weird that it works that way, but it does. And I was like, then I don't want non-accredited. Like, I don't want to deal with that headache. So
yeah, good choice on that.
Yeah. And it seems like Grant learned that lesson too, if he went back to accredited.
I think, I don't know. I don't talk to him as much as I used to, but I did talk to him once, and his trouble was coming from the non-accredited thing because of the same reason. I mean, dude, if I give you my only $10,000 and one little thing happens, I need my $10,000. You're not giving it back. You already told me it's a 5-year deal or a 7-year deal. I signed something legal. You've got lawyers. I don't. I start raising a freaking stink. What, dude, I could smear your name, make you look like an asshole over what? Because my freaking job fell through and I need my 10 grand back.
Yep.
I just don't think it's worth it.
No.
But it's sad because those are the people that need it.
Yeah, because they don't know how to invest. And so it actually would be good for them. But like you mentioned, they will cause the most headache.
Yeah. Well, I see why Grant tried to help the unaccredited. But, and not only that, there's more of them.
Right.
So Grant's also not stupid. Like
he's going to raise more money doing that.
Well, he realized, dude, if I can get $50 from 1 billion people, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But, Grant obviously crushed it. You're crushing it, and you're just getting started. So 3 to 5 years, man. What should people do if they want to invest in you?
You can just go to PinedaCapital.com, apply. Easy.
And I'm just plugging these little things along the way because sometimes my listeners get pissed if I don't tell them how to do business with the dude they're listening to. So you got a book or anything?
Yeah, I wrote a book 3 years ago called Flip Your Future. And ironically, I wrote that book. I never even talk about it. I forget I wrote it because we got all these other things going on. But the reason I wrote that book was I got kind of tired of everyone always asking, how do you flip houses? How are you doing it? And before that, I was explaining it to all my friends. And I'm like, okay, so this is what you do. And it took forever. I'm like, man, if I could just make a guide, this would be so easy. This was before I ever had a course, a coaching, or anything. So I started with the book as just simply, I got tired of answering questions and I wanted to make it just super simple. But the book has been great, man. It's sold thousands and it's been a bestseller in real estate. So,
well, people will go get your book after listening to this. But let me pick your brain briefly and bring you back to the old aggravating days of explaining it, but briefly. So in my mind, because I've never flipped houses, first thing you got to do is find the son of a bitches.
That's the hardest part.
So how do you, real quickly and succinctly, not like detail, how do you find the bitches?
In the brief way of saying it, there's 3 ways to find deals. The MLS, direct-to-seller marketing, or from wholesalers, who we talked about earlier. So with the MLS, I used to get a ton of deals in the MLS. We still do, but it's a lot more competitive now. There's nothing for sale, right? So if your whole strategy was the MLS, you're probably not doing that great anymore. Direct to seller is one that will always work. If you're going direct, knocking? There's no middleman. What?
Is that door knocking? Door
knocking's a form, cold calling, texting. I run TV commercials here in Vegas, PPC.
We buy ugly houses type of thing?
Yep. So everything, billboards, what they're doing.
Who started We Buy Ugly Houses?
Well, the company behind them is called Homevestors, and
What are those signs called?
What do you mean?
There's a thing that they call that in the industry when you stick up the signs.
Bandit signs.
Yeah.
So
do they still work?
I've tried them. I've never had success, but this is what I tell our students when it comes to direct marketing. It's going to depend on your market, right? So bandit signs would probably work really good in Detroit in lower income markets. They ain't going to work in San Fran, you know? So it all depends, and it also depends on your budget. I run probably, for the last year, we ran about $30,000 a month in TV commercials, and now we're running about $60,000 a month. Not everyone can go run a TV commercial. Nobody knows how to buy ad spots. Nobody knows how to film a commercial that works and all this stuff.
Local,
yeah. Do you watch TV?
not really.
That's why you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I watch Netflix and you know, Justify. I watch TV, but not like local channels or anything.
So think about this.
Does anyone watch TV anymore?
People who want to sell their house do.
Like fucking like normal TV?
Normal TV, dude. Cable.
Do you
or not
watch-
cable. I mean, local
Even
TV.
cable's not TV anymore.
No, we're advertising on the news. The news is the biggest one for sure.
What did you produce your ad, or did you hire an agency?
We hired an agency. We've been using the same ad for a year and a half. Never changed it.
Crushing it.
It just crushes.
Leads come in, your team calls, and boom.
Closer calls and it's done. But when you think about this, like we also do TV commercials on like Jerry Springer and Maury, because think about who's watching that, right? You gotta know your demographic.
Indeed. Okay, so you got to find them, and I'm just thinking through in my head now. So MLS, direct to seller, wholesaler.
Yep,
Just
wholesalers.
get to know some.
Just
Tell
got to build
people-
relationships.
Tell people you're in the business, you're getting into the business. Hey, if you have any deals, bring them to me.
Yep.
Which is what I'm starting to do.
Yep.
Like someone just brought me a deal, $11 million, I think 184 units, 2.2 million down, average square foot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, is this a good deal? Is this a bad deal? Like, shit, I don't know. I want to buy it because, like, dude, now I got an apartment building. It's only 2.2 million down.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? What am I looking for? Well, shit, how much was the rent roll? Well, it's a new unit or a new property. Like, see, because like when I asked Grant that, he goes, dude, just look at the fucking rent roll, man. It'll tell you what it's been making for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes, if it's cash flowing, you buy the bitch. But there's no rent on this one yet. It's brand new. How do you do that?
I mean, you're going to just go on projections. There's nothing you can do.
You just hope. Would you buy a brand new building?
If the numbers are right. I mean, so your deal in particular, the way that I would look at it is, number one, I would see, okay, what are similar buildings renting for, right? So we try and make projections based on that. Then you can figure out the net operating income, right? Then you figure out, okay, what are things trading at cap rate wise?
If I show you the deal, will you give me a free evaluation?
Yeah, we can go check it out after this. But another thing to look at too, just like simply, is what are properties going for on the apartment side per door, right? This one's 100 and how many units you said?
I think 186 units.
So 11 million divided by 186, you know, that's around what?
I'll tell you.
50 something a door.
I'll tell you in 5 seconds.
And what market is it in?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
And it's like, right, because I know someone from there. They go, oh, yeah, that's a really good spot.
I'm a Packers fan, so I'm with them.
Well, maybe you want to freaking
Hey,
walk
Pineda
me.
Capital might be interested.
Well, if you guys don't, whack me too hard, because, like, I don't need anybody's money.
Yeah.
That's my good news.
But how are you going to operate it?
I'm not.
Okay.
Someone else
The
is.
other
But-
guy who brought you the deal
But you know
will
what Grant
operate it.
told me?
What?
Dude, you just hire a management company for fucking 5% of the rent. I'm like, oh, that sounds easy.
Yeah. That's what we're doing on the one we're buying.
Yeah, everything sounds easy, but like I've never done it, so I'm thinking, am I going too big? Should I go get a damn duplex? Should I start smaller? Like, what would you recommend people do? Should they go right to the big if they can?
It depends on how much they have to lose. I mean, for you, even if this building doesn't do that great, you'll still be all right. Might not be the case for somebody else. I own a 10 unit out here, so that was my first taste of multifamily.
Price per unit, $63,889.
63,000. And do you know what they're selling for, fully stabilized per unit? I would ask them.
It's a 5.61% cap rate.
Okay. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't know what things are trading for out there, but if you know that things in that area are selling for 80 to 90,000 a door, fixed up and stabilized and going, and you know that this one's not going to cost much, then you got yourself a deal.
I'll show it to you afterwards. Yeah. So I'm starting to get into that. So find them. Okay. Thank you. Wholesale, build some relationships. Okay. So now after you find them, now you got to fund them.
Right.
Now you got to either in my case, I got the money. I'll go put the down payment, get the loan from the bank. Okay. Now it's mine. Now all of a sudden I go in and I say, hey, guess what? Rent's going up $50 a unit. And now that building is worth more now.
Right.
If they all don't move out on me. Correct?
Right.
So that seems like, oh shit, no brainer. And then I turn around and borrow that difference, that equity out tax free. I can depreciate the building and all these benefits like nobody even realizes. It's not just the cash flow. It's not just the equity. It's the depreciation and all the benefits you get from owning it, correct?
Correct.
So you can write off.
Yeah, the cash flow is kind of small compared to all the other benefits.
So how do you fund it? You got to find it. You got to fund it.
Well, apartments and flips are two totally different things. I mean, so if you're just talking about a flip, your everyday $300,000 house you're going to buy, what I would suggest doing is just getting a hard money loan. You know, even if you're brand new, hard money lenders will fund you up to 80%. We get it all the time with our students who've never done a deal.
How do you get 20% though?
So the 20% is going to come from friends or family. You know, just think about it. If you buying this house for 300, you need 60 grand. There's a lot of people with 60 grand, you know?
So you go borrow 60 grand from your friends and family. What if you bought it at 300 and you shouldn't have? Like, damn it, dude, that was only worth 240.
So most likely that would not happen with the hard money lender.
Because they're going to go send their own appraisers.
They're underwriting it and they wouldn't let you buy it.
See? It's built-in safety mechanism. Nobody even thinks. Because what I'm getting at, there's a lot of people out there scared shitless to try.
Right.
And dude, what kind of a pussy are you? I'm serious. Like, dude, real estate makes a lot of people money, and you can make an damn good living just flipping houses
easily.
But you got to know where to find them. You got to know how to fund them. You know, and then why haven't I done it? Well, dude, what if I get ripped off? How do I know what the value is? So there's these little things that people don't realize until they go out and just do it. And then they start to realize, oh shit, I can't necessarily get too bad because these guys wouldn't allow that. What are some pitfalls someone can get cracked on? What would you look out for?
You know, so obviously if you get through the hard money stage and they say, yeah, you know, we'll fund this deal. We think it's a good deal. Really the next part where they get screwed is contractors because they got to go handle this project. And
the GCs?
Yep. And so maybe the contractor says it's a 40 grand rehab and, you know, or maybe you thought it was a 40 grand rehab, right? You did your thing and now you go to do it and the contractor's like, oh, this is 70 grand rehab and your profit was 30 grand. Well, now you ain't going to make any money, best case. So the GC is kind of where most people get screwed. And that's nothing the hard money lender can do about it. You know, so with the GC, we always recommend doing your inspections and getting your bids before you buy it. So
say that again.
Doing your inspections and getting your contractor bids before you buy it. So, you know, you have a due diligence period. You don't have to buy this thing until you're completely ready. So go get 3 contractors to walk the property before you buy it and have them all give you bids before you ever close.
Well, my only question with that is like everything sells so fucking fast. I just had a buddy who wants to move out here. I said, listen, my buddy over here is a realtor. Just call him. He'll get you a couple deals knocked out. Found a $2 million house. Said, I'll take it. Just sold. Found another one. I'll take it. Sorry, just sold. Like shit moves so fast. How are you got time to arrange people walking properties and doing bids?
I mean, it's not like the house, you know, you accept an offer today and it closes tomorrow. That's rare. Even for us, when we buy a house in the MLS, we still got 2 weeks to close this thing. So think about this, Brad. If I have even a week to close it, I can go get multiple contractors in there the first day, right? I got to have these guys already lined up before I put it under contract.
That's the key right there.
Yeah, just be prepared. Now, day one, we go in there. They tell us the bids, whatever. We're confident. Okay, they all say it's 30, 35. Like, they're all in the same range, right?
Yeah.
Then you're just picking who you want. But at least you're pretty confident. They're inspecting it, all that stuff. But here's the worst case. Let's just say at the end you're ready to buy it, and then all of a sudden you find out that, oh, man, this is way more rehab than I thought. one of two things are going to happen. One, you're going to ask for a reduction, and you're going to say, dude, I can't buy this for this price. Friggin' give me
termites.
Yeah, give me a reduction. Two.
Now, hold on, just because I want to understand. If I said that to the person I just agreed to buy the house at this price, can they sue me and hold me to that price?
No. So typically what happens is you put down your earnest money deposit. So in an event, who knows what, it could be anything, but typically it's 1% of purchase price. So on this $300,000 house, they might put down $3,000. Now there are people who are putting really high earnest money deposits right now to show that they're going to buy. Okay, I'll put a $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 because I'm going to show you I'm buying this house. But let's just say you put $3,000 like normal days. Well, if you back out during your due diligence period, you get the $3,000 back. Okay, they have to. That was entitled to you in the contract. But let's say it's past 7 days and you find out, dude, I can't buy this. Like the rehab's too much. You can still renegotiate. Okay, you could try. They may or may not do it. Second option is you say, all right, well, I'm backing out. Give me my money back. Even though contractually they don't have to, it still happens a lot. They still give it back, mainly because they can't just take it. There's going to be a lawsuit or there's going to be back and forth. And even us, when we have buyers who back out of our flips, even after all their contingencies are gone, it's not like we get the money. We still have to like end up settling with them. Like, all right, just give us $1,500 then, and you guys get $1,500 back, whatever. But the third option is you truly did just lose the $3,000, and like that is your worst case. You lose the EMD. And it's better to lose $3,000 than to just buy that property and potentially lose a lot more.
Well, wouldn't it? Why couldn't you go through with it? You spent a little more than you thought, but now you rent it.
You could do that too.
Turn it into a rental property.
Yeah. So I own a few rentals that were flips that did not go the way I planned for whatever reason. So we ended up holding them, and thankfully they're actually good now because market's gone up so much. I look like a genius. But you can do that. You just have to know what are things renting for, what's your mortgage going to be on it. Here in Vegas, it's not really a good rental market for the prices because it's like a $400,000 house rents for $2,000, $2,500, and the mortgage is $2,000, $2,500. So it's hard to cash flow here
in Vegas.
In Vegas.
So after you fix it, which is now the GC issue, now you got to sell the bitch.
Yep.
So I don't see a problem right now, but in normal markets, you don't just sell the house just because it's for sale.
Right.
So what if you flipped it? What if whoever designed the new flip like has bad taste and now nobody likes your fucking flip?
Yep. So I've seen that before. I have a rule I call copy the comps. So anytime you're flipping a house, right, you're getting the comps and you're saying, I think this house will sell for $400 because these three sold for $400. Well, what did those three look like? Okay. Did they have white cabinets and granite counters or quartz counter? Whatever they did, just literally copy it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel and like, oh man, I'm going to go blue cabinets. I'm going to do this super trendy. It's going to be great. That could potentially make more money because it's so unique, but odds are it's not. There's a reason the builders of all these tract homes have the same exact looking house because everyone buys it.
And you don't want to get caught putting your style in the house.
Yeah. Another thing too is don't over remodel homes. Just because I would want this in my home doesn't mean that that's what you should do on this house. So knowing the level of finishes you need for that area is important.
Would it behoove the flipper to make relationships with people or like vendors and like marble guys and shit like that? Or is that the GC's deal?
It's the GC's deal. I mean, for most people starting out, you don't need to source products.
But if I have a buddy that owns a marble company and I can get marble way cheaper than you or the GC for that matter,
just tell your GC about it.
Just say, I got a deal over here so he won't whack me so hard.
Yep.
On the marble.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you need marble contact here?
Dude, we always need more suppliers.
Yeah, well, my buddy owns Marble Express over here.
Okay. So, I'm sure we bought there. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want me to introduce him,
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to him. He's a good dude. Okay, so selling it in a market like this is easier than not, but now you got to sell it. Describe that real quick.
Yeah, so in today's market, I mean, you freaking list it and people pay the price. I mean, it's crazy. Most of our flips are getting 10 to 20% more than we thought. I mean, and it's not. I'm like, okay, this house should get 300,000, gets 350. I'm like, this is crazy.
And if you probably wanted to, you could have waited and got 360 because there's people fighting over them.
They are. It's crazy. So, we never want to do that as flips. We want to sell them as fast as possible, limit our risk, get our money back, go do another one, right? But in a normal scenario, you're going to hire a realtor. I never recommend doing a for sale by owner. Some people are like, well, why do I got to pay the realtor and all this? I'm like, dude, you ain't a professional, one. Two, you don't even know how to negotiate. You're going to cost yourself some money thinking you're a good negotiator. And you're just not going to get the exposure that it would get if it was on the MLS and other realtors could show it and all this stuff. So just list it with a good realtor and they're going to give you their opinion on what you should list it for. And if they're a good realtor, they're probably right.
Is there any public record that would tell me what to list it for?
I mean, you got your comps, right? So
Zillow?
I would never use Zillow's estimate. So here's what I do. When I'm comping a property, I'll look at the solds. That's first and foremost important, right? Okay, they're all selling for 400. Great. I got multiple comps. But then I'll look at what's pending and what's active. And so maybe there's a pending at 420. And I'm like, okay, by the time I'm done, this might set a new comp at 420. That's good. I got some upside. And then I'll also look at what's active, okay? Is there anything else for sale? If there's nothing for sale, that's good. That means that I'm going to be the only game in town. If there's other flips on the market not selling and they're at 420 or 400, then I'm like, hey, why aren't these selling? So you got to look at everything as a whole. But to make the story short, when I go to list, really what I'm looking at now is, okay, what are these comps now? Maybe it did go to 420. That guy sold. Great. But what else is on the market? What's my competition? If I have no competition, in today's market, I might go price that thing at 450 just because there's nothing for sale. Like, what else are you going to buy? You want to live in Southern Highlands? I have the only house in Southern Highlands. Tough luck. You got to buy it. But if there's all these other things they have options for, all right, let's price it at comps. Let's go to 420. Our house is comparable.
So if I find a house, let's say in Seven Hills where I live,
yeah,
and it's $2,900,000, and everybody's fighting over it, how can I flip that house? Like, because you got to overpay to get the damn thing. Where are you finding all these wholesale deals?
Ironically, it's funny you mentioned Seven Hills. Before I was here, I was a little late. I was touring a listing that's about to go on the market at $32 million in Seven Hills. Super cool house. I'll probably do a YouTube edit. But
is it the one with the curved?
Yeah,
that guy's his name Mike.
I don't want to say it on the podcast.
Anyway, yeah, I know that house, dude. That's a badass house.
I just was walking it, dude.
It's got a rock wall.
Yep.
I was in there one night for a party. That fucking house is sweet.
The house is crazy.
And he built that house because he had another house over here that they were impeding his view or some bullshit. So he just said
he went direct to the seller. He told me the story.
Yeah, dude. Like, that's when you got freaking big juicy balls. You just freaking build another one.
Well, so I'm building a house in McDonald Highlands. I bought this 2 acres on the mountaintop.
Askaya?
No, it's in McDonald. But I went direct to the seller and I'm like, yo, like, let's do this deal. So it's like finding that deal wasn't on the market, but it's just going direct to the seller. And
how did you know, though? You didn't just knock on some dude's door.
Well, I mean, you could pull the tax records, see who owns this, and then there's a ton of services that can get you people's phone numbers. It's not hard.
But don't they look around and say, bro, this thing's going for 39 mil. Why are you offering me 32?
Well, I'm not buying a 32. I bought land. Was what I did.
Yeah, but my point is like, see, because I have a little dough, and I don't mind doing the work because I want to learn before I hire a team to go do.
Yeah.
And or invest with a guy like you, so I know a little bit more than I do now. Because like I want to know what you're up to.
Yeah.
If I'm investing.
Right.
So I think to myself every time, okay, so how do I find these houses? Boom. Okay, so you covered that, and then well, how do I fund them? Okay, hard money lenders, okay. Now, how do I frickin' get the contractors to actually go fix it? Well, you're going to need to know some GCs and some people that are reliable.
Right.
And then to sell it, you just list it with a realtor. That's it.
Pretty much. You got to let them do their job. I mean, that's why you're paying them.
So be friends with a couple realtors, which I know a bunch.
Yep.
And that's it.
If they got a good track record, they sell, and you're a flipper. But back to your original point, the hardest part of being a flipper is getting the deal. And, the money's easy. There's so much money in the world. You can get financing.
Wholesalers find you, right?
Yep. So wholesalers, all they got to worry about is just finding good deals. But you asked, why would people not just wholesale? Wholesaling's great, but you're always leaving money on the table, and you have to get a way better deal than me. Because, for instance,
way better.
If you want to make money, you do.
Dude, it's a flip. I mean, it's a wholesale. Who cares? Like, hey, I know my buddy, my neighbor next door, dude, he wants 2.4. I say, sign this. I'll buy it for 2.4. And then he gives it to me, and I go, dude, you want this for 2.5?
Well, yeah, when you're making 100K, it's cool. But
or 50K.
Not most wholesales are not like that. Yeah, most wholesales are, hey, we're going to make 10K in markets like this. Yeah, when you're in expensive markets, 100,000, totally normal. But when you're dealing with a $200,000 house, like, how much cheaper are you really? If I know I need to buy it at 150, I mean, you might be getting it for 140. Like, that's cool, but if you flip it, you could make 30 instead of 10. And if we're both competing for that deal and you can't flip, guess what? I can offer them 150. You can only offer 140 because you got to make your spread. And so as a wholesaler, you limit your options and you miss out on a lot of deals that if you could flip, you would make money. But there's more risk. I mean, there's more work. I mean, it really is whatever you want to do.
All I can hear is opportunities everywhere.
The opportunities are everywhere, man. In your scenario of, man, this guy wants 2.9, everyone's on it. How am I supposed to get it? You're not. That ain't your deal. If everyone's on it, I don't want it.
Like my buddy, he found a house, 1.9, made an offer, said, I'll take it. Boom, already sold. It just got listed.
Yeah.
I said, well, just offer him more. He said, I tried. The guy wouldn't take it. Well, I don't understand. Like, if I owned a house and you came in at 1.9, I'm like, all right, deal. Then someone goes, I'll give you 2. I'd be like, hold on, Ryan. I got 2.
Well, that's why I'm saying direct to seller is one that always works because nobody's offering them. It's not on the market. You know, how many people have offered?
But they don't do comps and look around?
They might, but a lot of people just don't care. Like, we tell people, we're like, look, we're not going to be the highest offer, but what we can give you is convenience. We'll close quick. We'll buy it as is.
What's a quick closing?
I mean, we could close in a day if we really needed them to, but for most, it just, like, a quick close is 2 weeks. But you're going to need due diligence, right? It just depends on the deal. I mean, some deals we're like, yeah, we need due diligence. Others, we walk them. We're getting such a great deal. We're like, no, like, you're guaranteed we're going to buy this. We don't need any contingencies, nothing. And guess what?
How do you know it's that good of a deal, though? Just experience?
Yeah, I mean.
Because I wouldn't know.
You would know, though.
Like, come to my house, tell me, hey, Brad, I'll give you X. Fuck, I'd have to look around and get some comps and, do a little research to even say yes or no. I don't know if that's a good deal, bad deal, or you're ripping me off. What's this house worth?
But most people.
I go to Zillow and look at this estimate.
That's what most people do. But if you knew I was coming to your house to make you an offer, you would already have done your due diligence on what your house is worth. And sometimes we'll ask people, we'll be like, hey, what do you think your house is worth? Like, have you done any research? They'll be like, oh, Zillow said this, or Sally Joe's house sold for this. He gives us both an idea of where they're at and whether we can make a deal. Yeah. And so before we ever go on the appointment, if they're asking for Zillow value, typically we'll be like, hey, look, we're here to make a profit. Like, we can't even, if we pay Zillow value, we're going to lose money. So
we're going to have to sell it at Zillow value.
Yeah. So if that's what you want, that's fine. You need to list. We have a brokerage. We can do that. But if you want a quick close, you don't want to deal with realtors and all these buyers coming in and out. You just want this one time and done. You want to leave all your crap at the house. You want to, rent back potentially. That's a big one too, is like, hey, we'll buy it. We'll let you rent back for a month or two, to let you get on to your next phase. So it's convenience is what they're paying for.
Well, it sounds like it's nothing but opportunity. So if anybody's out there not making money, basically eating shit, if you ask me, because like I always tell people, like life begins at 20 grand a month. If you're not making 20 grand a month, dude, you're missing out, because you know you're in the what I call the race. Like you're just barely paying bills. You're not able to save enough to really make any difference. Every time you save a little, something comes up where now shit, you had to fix your tire and do some stupid shit. But once you get up to like say 20 and then you live normal, well, now you got a little extra that can save and start really making some compound moves.
Right.
To where if you're not out there making 20 grand a month, I'd suggest, you know, getting into wholesaling, getting into flipping, getting into real estate of some kind, getting into the Walmart stores, the automated Walmart stores, figuring out how to do it, help other people do it, create courses. It's just, there's no excuse for people not making 20 G's.
Well, I'll say I'm with you. Back 10 years ago when I was 21 almost, trying to figure out what should I do to make money. This stuff didn't exist. You know, people weren't getting paid to be YouTubers. There wasn't this e-commerce stuff. There wasn't wholesaling the way it is today, where everyone talks about it. You can learn how to do it for free on YouTube. I literally just told you how to do it. Like, anyone can do it. And yet 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. And so I did not make money 10 years ago. Most people didn't, because it was like this hidden, you know, thing that only the gurus knew. But today, literally no one has excuse for why they can't make 20 grand a month.
Folks, and if you guys don't understand that, well, then reach out to old Ryan Pineda, folks, because he's helping people make money left and right. He's got funds. You can be passive. You can give him money, make money. You can learn to do it yourself and give him very little money, or you can do a combination in there where he coaches you, and you got like groups rolling around town.
Yep. We got over 1,000 students across the nation.
What's your best platform? YouTube?
For what?
For people to find you?
You know, if you want to communicate direct with me, Instagram's the easiest. You could DM me. But, you know, my best content's definitely on YouTube.
And Instagram, your Instagram handle, just at Ryan Pineda?
Ryan Pineda Show. Somebody has the Ryan Pineda, man.
Ryan Pineda Show, folks. I appreciate you coming in, dropping bombs on my folks. Hey, by the way, folks, if you guys are looking to sell your house and it's not on the market and you don't want to deal with these realtors and that nonsense, just call old big dog Brad Lea. Dude, I got money. I'm ready to buy. And if I don't, I know people who are. So just DM me. I'll start buying ugly houses. I'll start buying good looking houses. Send me just hit me in the DM, hit me in the email, send me your house, send me your deal, and maybe I'll get you cash for it. How about that? And then I'll just start bringing them all to you.
You'll wholesale them to me?
That's right. Like, dude, there's just so many opportunities out there.
It's crazy.
It really boils down to one thing. More hands you shake, the more money you make.
Yep.
Folks, you heard it from Ryan Pineda. It's easy. Get out there and get her done, or learn how to do it. And as always, share this shit out, because it may not be you that needed it. Maybe your best friends. Share it out. Until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Brad Lea. Subscribe now.